Can y'all hear me?
Hmm.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get started. How is everyone?
Good,
Grateful.
how are
Great.
you?
Awesome.
That is good. For those that don't know my name is Avery, and I am with the Runway Hub and the Couture Correspondence. And we will be talking to the models, and this is presented by Spartanburg Fashion Week. So I want to welcome you all aboard. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so I'll let y'all introduce yourself. We are going to start with the top model. Nadia, how are you tonight?
I am good. I'm Nadia Rhodes. I am the woman top model. And it's been a great time. I'm great tonight. I'm excited for this, excited for all the insight we can give. Yeah, and thankful to be here.
Wonderful. And next, we will go to our next top model, Jocelyn. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. My name is Jesselyn Sienna. I am Spartanburg's teen top model. And same thing as Nadia said, we've had a great season with Spartanburg Fashion Week, and I can't wait for this year's Fashion Week this weekend, and can't wait to start this meeting.
That's wonderful. And now we'll introduce our first male top model, Darius. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. My name is Darius Gates. I am the first top model male model, and I am excited to be here and to see where it goes.
All right, and next we'll go to Tiffany with Model on the Grind. How are you tonight?
I am doing fabulous. I'm honored to be amongst the top models here. And my name is Tiffany Eli McNeil. I am the owner and founder of Model on the Grind, LLC, where we teach confidence on and off of the runway. Glad to be here.
That is wonderful. And next we will go to Morgan. How are you tonight, Morgan?
I'm doing great, guys. My name is Morgan Rock. I have been an actress and a model since I was about 5 years old. And I travel all up and down the East Coast, international, anywhere I can get my feet on a runway or a stage.
That is good. And last but not least, Stella, how are you tonight?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. I'm Stella. I'm so excited to be here. I'm signed with Premier Models, and this will be my third season with Spartanburg Fashion Week.
That is wonderful. All right, you guys. So like I said, we're gonna go ahead and jump in. We have actually four topics that we were going to talk about tonight. We're gonna talk about your journey, just like through modeling. We're also gonna talk about some behind the scenes, and we're gonna talk about the safety and just protecting yourself when you're modeling or when you're with photographers or with designers, etc. And then lastly, we're going to talk about investing in yourself. So let's see. I'm going to ask the first question. And we are going to start with Stella. So, Stella, we can start with you first. So, what got you interested in modeling? So like what were the steps and what got you interested?
So I had played sports all throughout high school, all my life. That was like my whole identity. And then I was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And my body shut down. And I was unable to play sports anymore. But I've always had like a passion for modeling, but I've always been super good at basketball. So I stuck with that. So when I didn't have anything else left, then I looked to modeling to try and inspire other young girls with maybe rheumatic diseases or chronic illnesses or anyone because everyone has something that they are beautiful and they can do anything they put their mind to.
That is wonderful. So next we'll go to Nadia. What got you started into modeling or like, what was your interest in it?
So I've always been a very insecure girl and I didn't have confidence when I was younger, and it's still an ongoing thing. But I just started like a volunteer fashion week. It was
my parents were like, "You should do it. It'll be really fun, maybe boost your confidence." And that's exactly what it did. I started just doing that for like 4 years just for fun, and then now I'm signed with Select Atlanta, and now I travel all across the country. It's been amazing, but I started just with volunteering and just doing it for confidence, honestly.
That is wonderful. So we are going to move on to Darius. What got you started or interested in modeling?
What got me interested in modeling was the art of it, me creating art and me seeing a vision that little boys can see and like, I want to be that someday. But I just love the confidence, meeting new people, the attention that I get, the photography, the runway. I just love all the excitement that it comes with.
Yes, it is a lot of excitement. We can
Hmm.
all agree to that. And Jocelyn, what about you?
So I was a competitive dancer, and whenever you dance, they kind of steer you in like three separate directions. You can be a dancer, or pageantry, or modeling. And then I wanted to be a dancer, but I got injured. So I started modeling because I was just always taller than everybody else when I was younger. And now I get to travel around the world and do music videos and TV shows and runway shows and that kind of thing.
That's wonderful. And Tiffany, what about you?
So what got me interested? I used to watch America's Next Top Model, and I just fell in love with Tyra and the tension, the role model that she is, and because she's not only a model, she was also an actress. She's also a host of her own TV show, and it really inspired me to pursue this modeling and to build my confidence and prove myself that I can do it.
That's great. And lastly, Morgan.
So my grandmother got me started at a very young age. I grew up in Philadelphia and was trained in New York. And I took a very long hiatus where I spent a great deal of time doing theater and acting. But a few years ago, I decided to get back into modeling because I wanted to see women my age represented on the runway. I feel like everyone should be able to see themselves on the pages or in the garments. And so I wasn't seeing enough of it, and I'm glad that the industry has started to start implementing more mature models.
Yes, that is something that is going on right now that is happening. So that is very, very good. All right. So the next question, I'm going to ask three of you this next question. So let's see. We are going to ask Darius first. What were some of your challenges? And I guess you can kind of like piggyback off of, just you probably getting started and stuff, but can you just
Um,
tell
the
us that?
challenges was, of course, I'm not 6'2" or 5'11", so they kind of played a role into it. But what they liked the most was my confidence. So my height didn't really matter at that time, but it was just getting booked with agencies and stuff like that. That's been the most challenging. But overall, they just looked at my confidence. They didn't really care about my height or my body size.
All right. And Nadia, since you are with an agency, and I know Darius was saying that that was one of his challenges. So by you being with your agency, have you experienced any type of challenges just by being with an agency?
I just sometimes feel like I'm not good enough to be there. Just and that goes on to be like the entire confidence and insecurity thing. And the only I haven't had any like big challenges with being an agency, just really like making sure that I put my foot out there and I value who I am and not letting that deem down, I would say.
All right, wonderful. And Morgan, you are the third person. So, what would be some of the challenges that you've probably have experienced? I guess in the early stages of modeling.
Actually, if I can say, the challenges have been more so in the later stages of modeling. For me, there is obviously there's a comfort level of, at my age, I don't necessarily want to show my nipples, things like that. So setting boundaries in a very respectful way, but also still allowing myself to get out of my comfort zone, and doing things that I wouldn't have necessarily thought I would do. And then every time I've done them, I'm glad I did. So I like that is there. But I think for me, that's the hardest, is the figuring out if this is one I want to try or if this is one I need to really set a boundary in.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So the next question I'm also going to ask three models. We're going to start with Jocelyn. So balancing like the real life with school or work or just, anything else outside of modeling. How do you deal with that when you're pursuing your modeling?
Yeah, so my perspective's a little bit different because I'm still in high school, whereas the rest of our models are a little bit older. But I was modeling and doing school at the same time my sophomore year. And I just felt like I was either always in trouble at school for missing so much school, or I was missing a lot of big modeling opportunities having to be at school. So I left school and I graduated early online. I mean, I have plenty of friends that do both, that can balance being at school and modeling at the same time. So it's definitely doable. But for me, it was just helpful for me to do online school and to be able to take it with me wherever I work. And that's allowed me to do a lot of big opportunities because a lot of the times music videos and TV shows and that kind of thing are filming throughout the week because it's cheaper and easier and that kind of thing for them to produce. So me personally, I steered my life towards modeling and focused on that.
All right. That is really, really good because I know, just being in school is really hard to try to just basically get out there and do multiple things. So next we are going to go to Stella. Stella, pertaining just school or work, or just any outside, stuff that you do. How are you balancing that with modeling?
So, like Jesselyn, I'm one of the younger models, but with my school, when I started modeling, I was full time at school. It was a lot, but when I started, it wasn't as much because I wasn't really out into the industry as much as I am now. I was just getting started, just trying to figure out how everything works. So then, around like my senior year, I started online school. So now I am in online school, which has helped a lot with modeling, but I definitely love it a lot better. It's opened a huge amount of opportunities for me with traveling and everything.
Wonderful, great. And lastly, we are going to ask Tiffany because I know that you are a mother, so you are a mother full time, juggling that, and I don't know if you have a job or however, but just tell us how you are able to balance just the real life with just being a mother, modeling, and just other activities that you have.
Yeah. So, firstly, I have my model planner here that keeps me organized. It keeps me updated with all of the fashion weeks. It's called Your Ultimate Model Organizer, which I published this year. So that definitely keeps me on, just in the know of all the fashion weeks and basically how to manage and balance my work life. Being with my kids, we have to travel to New York. Everyone travels with me. Just this past New York Fashion Week, I was by myself with Spartanburg with you guys. So, it's hard because I miss my kids. My kids miss me. I have a 1 year old. So the balance it just comes with really prioritizing what's important. Um, Not every New York Fashion Week I can make. I understand that. Maybe I want to go to Paris. Maybe I want to do Miami Fashion Week. And just budgeting money wise, it's very important, which I also have in here, income tracker, and basically just how to track budget wise and just spending time with family in building my career as well.
That's wonderful. We all need that planner.
Yes.
All right. So we are going to jump into the next topic. So the next topic is basically behind the scenes. We've all have been behind the scenes in the back. We see what the audience does not see. We see all the chaos. We see everything. So I'm going to start with Stella. So Stella, how do you prepare yourself? Like, I guess like mentally, where when like you're ready to go out on the runway, or when you're getting ready for a photo shoot. How do you prepare yourself?
Well, I'm always super excited before every single opportunity because coming from where I was completely lost to now where I am at is a huge jump. And I just prepare by communicating every single detail with a model member or the photographer or the agent at the whatever at the shoot location. And I make sure I have all the details checked. I arrive 30 minutes ahead of time. If hair and makeup is needed, I make sure I'm presentable and I'm delivering what the client expects.
That is wonderful. And the next question, I am going to let Darius answer this because you are a guy, and we all know that backstage is mostly females
Hmm.
and not a lot of guys. So, you being a guy backstage, what is one thing that is shocking that that you have seen or that you have learned just
Um,
being backstage?
being backstage, I won't say surprised, but how freely women are. I know they gotta do like quick changes, so you just see everything backstage. So, but other than that, I just clear my mind, clear my head, and just focus on the runway, focus on the photo shoots. But nothing really crazy happened backstage. I mean, you'll get fussed at and cussed at, but that's just normal.
Yes, because the adrenaline, we
Hmm.
all know the adrenaline is high. So,
Yes.
um, Nadia, you're up there laughing. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask you the next question. Have you ever faced anything unprofessional, backstage or during the time that you've done any type of photo shoots, or that you have went to the agency? Just anything that you're like, wait a minute, that's not how we do it, or what we supposed to do.
The only thing that I would say is just like the whole changing situation. I personally like I understand it's going to be very like people are going to be quick changing all of this, but I think prioritizing a certain area for women, for men, that's super important. I just, I don't know. I'm uncomfortable. So I would say that's the only thing I've had to
Mhm.
do. Um, and then just making sure that when you're at a photo shoot, setting boundaries is also a thing. I've had multiple photographers that I've worked with, and just not pushy, but you have to set boundaries of what you want to do. And as I said, I'm not comfortable doing certain things and showing certain parts. So setting that boundary is probably the most uncomfortable thing I've had to do for sure.
All right, so we will go ahead and stay on that subject and move in with Morgan. So Morgan, also, how important do you think that it is to set boundaries basically whenever you are, backstage, or at a casting, or when you're working with photographers or designers?
I think it's the utmost importance. I know when I'm doing model coaching, one of the things that I always recommend to models is in the beginning, sit down and figure out what things you're comfortable with, what things you're not comfortable with, and what things you're willing to try. And then to reassess pretty much annually. And also to be okay with like getting into a garment if you're no longer comfortable with it. very respectfully let somebody know, hey, can I use something to make me feel a little bit more comfortable? Can I wear something underneath? Things like that. And just really understanding where your guidelines are, especially in this industry. Especially young women tend to get pushed to go out of their comfort zone. And so you really have to know yourself so that you can figure out exactly where that boundary is and be staunch in it when you let people know.
That is some good advice. Yes, because we know that sometimes photographers, because even I have been on photo shoots with models, and I remember a photographer did ask her to do something, and she looked at him she looked at him like, I can't believe you said that. But he did apologize, but still that was him being unprofessional. So this next question, this will be for Jocelyn and Tiffany. So backstage or working casting calls, runway events, good or bad, what is something that you have never forgot, like something good or something bad? Yeah,
Do you want to start,
Jocelyn.
Tiffany? Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Um, so I feel like just how people treat each other is something that like you're always gonna remember backstage. So whenever we did New York Fashion Week, the specific company that we worked with, I felt like was pretty lost. Like we didn't have a lot of time, we didn't have a lot of hair and makeup artists, we didn't have a lot of space, and so like that just reminds you that like you don't want to go back to work with that company again because they've messed up and not been able to produce the best show for you. But then there's also good circumstances. I did a music video with Akon, who's like a very big artist for anybody who's like too young to know who that is. And he was just so kind to everybody the entire time. Like he kept offering me his seat because I was in heels. And so I think that people who treat you properly, that's something that you will also always remember in the industry.
Okay, wonderful. Tiffany, you can go next.
I'm thinking like, should I do good? Should I do bad? Um,
You can do
okay,
both.
since Jesselyn did good, I'm gonna um what I wanna stress is very important to me. When I started out modeling, I didn't have model coaches. I didn't have the influence of people who can tell me what and what not to do. So I had to experience a lot of things on my own. Experience is my teacher. Um, so I can't stress enough. If you are just starting out as a model, like do not go to a photo shoot by yourself. Let someone know where you're going or go with someone, bring someone because I've had a very bad experience with a photographer, who I thought was an actual photographer. And it was a situation where I ended up jumping out the window because of my safety. So that was just the words. And I want to say this was when I first started modeling. So I could have quit because, the experience was just horrible. You can't trust everyone. You have to look into these photographers. You have to look into these things that you get in the email that says, "Oh, you're such a beautiful model. I would love to work with you." Do your research on these people. If they don't have a legit website, if you can't see their work, if they're not reputable, ask questions. Always tell somebody. Don't do anything on your own because you want to surprise. Because that was my thing. I was like, I'm gonna surprise my mom, and I'm gonna. No, I was in a very bad situation. So I just want to stress that safety is very important for us females and males too. Just be careful and always tell someone where you're going.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm glad that you brought that up because that'll bring us into our third topic, which is about safety and respect. But I just wanted to give some insight on what I researched. And I researched in 2023 the survey. I guess they did a survey in the fashion industry, and 60% of models reported um experiencing some type of verbal harassment or inappropriate behavior just in the overall career. So 60% is really high. And like I said, this was done in 2023. 2025 may be even higher. So, piggybacking off of what you just said, Tiffany, we are going to start with Stella. Um, how do you think conversations about safety and modeling? I mean, what are some conversations that you would tell, other models pertaining just to safety or things to avoid, when they first start modeling?
Yeah, I would definitely look into the photographer's work if you're working with a photographer or a production, look into their work. If you see you have mutuals, ask someone that is mutual with them. Make sure if there is a contract that you're reading the whole contract through. And then if you are under 18, make sure you have a parent sign or make sure you have a parent have some sort of communication with the production or the photographer. Like Tiffany said, make sure that you have someone there with you for safety reasons and everything. But with some productions like fashion shows, obviously you can't really bring someone with you, but when you're working with a photographer, you could. Um, Definitely, even if you feel uncomfortable, don't do it. Stick to your gut feeling. It's not going to be the end of the world if you pass up a job. There's plenty out there. There's so many companies needing models. And if you do feel like you need a contract for the job, if it is a compensated job, make sure you have a contract. So then your payment is set on time.
That is some good advice because I think when a person, starts modeling and stuff, they want to grab everything. And you're right, Stella, like, it's billions and billions of jobs out there for models. So just, some advice just coming from my end. Yeah, I would say the same thing. Just don't try to grab everything. Don't try to be in everything because just because a production, or a photographer or a designer has a couple of pictures up or even have a website up, that does not make them legit at all. Um, so we are going to move to Morgan. What are some red flags, Morgan, that you would, just tell the models or even tell yourself to watch out for whenever you're, booking jobs or when you're meeting, new designers, new photographers, or just in general, just meeting people in the industry? What are some red flags that you've noticed that was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stay away from this person or not work with this person?
I think that the to piggyback off of what you guys were saying is the you do need to ask around. I think Tiffany mentioned asking other models, and that's important. Not to just ask one model, but ask a bunch of models because there are some models that haven't had a negative experience, and so continuing to do your due diligence and your research, even after you've been working with somebody. Oftentimes, they're playing the long game, so they'll work with you 2, 3, 5, 10 times and then make a move. So really continuing to do your research and being open to receiving the input that you receive. But any red flags really come down to obviously if they're asking for compensation or money that's outside of a predetermined contract or outside of your agency. But also like the quality of work that they're putting out and the consistency, like you said, just because they have an Instagram or a website doesn't mean that they're legit. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this industry, especially in South Carolina, that are still operating under an LLC and they look legit. And the amount of stories that circulate if you really do your due diligence is really eye-opening. But anytime somebody's reaching out to you in your DMs, especially the first thing to do is to go to the model group chats that you're in, reach out to your friends, and get a plethora of feedback before working with that person. And if you are casted for something, the first thing you should ask for is a call sheet. And if they cannot provide you with a professional call sheet that lists everybody that's involved, that's the first red flag for me.
Okay. And I would, yes, yes, I would say the same thing. And I know some models, I have known some models or photographers or, designers, they have a bad experience with the model, and they try to put out that negativity, but then you may meet that model or that photographer and you may have a good experience. So just like you were saying, Morgan, like it's always good to do your research. Just like all of y'all were saying, it's good to do your own research on everybody. Um, so we're gonna go to Darius and Nadia. Both of y'all can answer this one. Um, Nadia, your friends. What what all can you tell your friends or anybody interested in modeling pertaining just being up under an agency? What are things that you would say that like how they should protect themselves?
I, as I kind of said in my answer before, setting boundaries is the most important thing. And if you feel uncomfortable, you can exit yourself out of that situation. Um, you don't have to feel obligated to be there. If you feel uncomfortable, that's how it progresses and that's get worse. And then you're very unsafe. So, setting boundaries is number one. And I do it. Even I know I will know a photographer. I know they're good, but I just want to set a boundary so nothing can transpire.
Okay. And Darius, what about you? What are some things that, whether they're red flags that you've noticed working with designers or photographers or just working with other models or other, productions and stuff. What's some advice that you can give?
I will just give this, always protect yourself, do your research. But I really haven't experienced any red flags with anyone, but just always stay humble, always be respectful, and just always give your all.
All right, wonderful. And we are gonna move on. To investing in yourself, and then after that we're going to see if anyone in the audience has any questions, and then we can also talk about some other things that just the models have experienced or have on their minds, just when it comes to fashion weeks and everything. So we are going to start with Jocelyn. So basically we are on our topic 4, and it's basically investing in yourself. So Jesselyn, I guess what type of investments do you think that models? So if I wanted to model and I needed your help, like how would you tell me to go? Like would you tell me what to, I don't know, get comp cards, like build my portfolio? How would you help me with that?
Yeah, so I truly think that modeling can be started with nothing. I think that you really don't have to have money to start. You can just use your phone and take your headshots and your portfolio shots and things like that and start submitting them to agencies and that kind of thing, because it's kind of the agency's job to develop you. But if you do have the money to spend to get into modeling, you should always start with your all black outfit, because you're going to need that for every casting, every rehearsal. You're always going to need your black outfit, good headshots by a good photographer, and just some good portfolio shots that show your range and what you're capable of and that kind of thing, because every brand is looking for somebody different. So just show every brand that you have what they are looking for. That's kind of what you should work on building to be able to book things in the future.
Okay, great. And the next question I'm going to ask Tiffany. Um, So let's say that you had wanted to walk in a fashion week, or you wanted to be a part of a magazine. You sent in all of your photos and you got the email that said, we're sorry, you don't have our look, or like, we're not looking for that look. How would you handle any type of rejection, but still, where to it won't just have you just give up and lose all your confidence?
Yes, I've actually had a couple of those emails, and at first it's very daunting, especially if you invested and you've gave it your all as you think. Um, what helped me is just to continue with submitting to other magazines. And when I did hear that yes, it was just like, okay, they're right. It's not me. You have to understand that these producers or these designers, they are looking for a specific look. And just because you do get a no, that doesn't mean that it's something necessarily wrong with you. It just means that you just wasn't the fit for that particular catalog or campaign. So what helped me is to just stay with my affirmations, telling myself that I am enough. I'm confident, I got this. And just keep going. Don't stop. Do not give up. Do not give up. No does not mean never. And just continue to just pursue. If this is your passion, it's for you.
That is exactly right. That is the number one thing. If it's meant for you, it will most definitely happen. So Stella, have you ever had to deal with them saying, "Nope, we can't use you," or "Sorry, you don't have the look"?
So when I first started when I was in high school, I definitely had a lot of, "You're too young for us, you can't model for us yet, we'll be in contact." But later on, I have revisited those jobs and gotten booked for those jobs. But there's a different look for everything. Modeling is so universal that even though you may not be ready for the job yet, they may want a different look a few years later. So just keep an open mind, just keep pushing, look for other jobs because there's something out there for everyone, quite honestly. There's so many different looks, all models. There's some that look the same, but there's a lot that look very different and unique, and everyone has their own look. And yeah.
All right. I love that answer. So we're gonna move to Morgan. Um, being professional. So this is still on the investing in yourself, but just in general, if you had to, let's say you had to mentor a model, um, and let's say that I'm the model, and you had to, I guess, define or just tell me how to be professional, whether it's, backstage, front, at shows, how would you define it, or just tell me what I need to do to have myself be and look professional as a model?
Well, I think the number one thing that we hear is an issue that's harped on models is to be on time. And so, obviously be on time, show up, pay attention, and be ready. When you come in, try to leave, whatever might be weighed on your shoulders at the door, and shake it off, whether it means you have to have a dance party with your friends backstage, to get loose, or, do some yoga or state some affirmations, whatever it is that helps you get in that space. Do that so that when you are in front of the camera or on the runway, that you're able to be in a calm state of mind, and really execute the character. Anytime that you are in your head, it shows on your face. And so you really have to tap into what the concept is, to execute it.
That is a good answer, because we have all been around a model or a photographer or a designer that was not professional. Um, and it's just more like, okay, like I know not to work with you again. So yeah, so I get that. But that was a wonderful answer. And Darius, I wanted to ask you about this. So
Mhm.
pertaining social media, what do you think is a big part of building your brand pertaining social media?
To build your brand, you also want to collab with other photographers, other designers, where you're at, what show you're at, and just build yourself up and just show people who you are so people can see and come to your page.
Okay. And I think I'm going to ask everybody that question. So, Nadia, what would you define on building your brand?
Well, social media has made everyone that I've met, um, it's a great place for networking, especially for models, and people reach out. It's a very Instagram is what I use mostly, and it's very picture based. So our job is to be in pictures and to walk in the runway, all of that. And so it's a very good networking platform. And it also how you lay out your Instagram and how what you post, all of these things can show more of you and your brand, and you can personalize it how you like, which I really love. And yeah, I think it's the number one thing. I think it's amazing for networking for sure.
Wonderful. And Stella, how do you build your brand on social media?
Just like Nadia said, definitely a lot of networking. With social media, that's kind of like your second portfolio. If an agent is interested, or a photographer or designer is interested, or production, they're looking at your social media. So you need to make sure you stick to your niche, that everything looks professional, that you're posting appropriate stuff for your niche, and keep everything very classy on your social media. And be careful, because even with social media, there may be people trying to reach out to you and scam you with opportunities. So social media can also be kind of scary when it comes to modeling, but it's important to definitely take care of it, as it is kind of your second portfolio.
That's true. Jocelyn?
So I think that y- social media can be good and bad. I partially think that it is kind of killing like the original modeling days, because a lot of it is like influencers and things like that now, that us models are missing out on a lot of job opportunities that are getting taken by people with bigger followings. So I think that you just have to work on building up your profile, making sure that you have a target audience and that you're posting for that audience. And then a lot of people think that agencies are only care about your look, but what they're actually looking at is your personality. So just share who you are and who you want to be on your social media, because to get signed or to get booked for jobs or things like that, that's what they're looking for, to see who you are and how you represent yourself.
All right. And Morgan?
So I think Instagram, it's a curated platform, and so as a model, you should be constantly curating your Instagram page, updating it, making sure that your most recent or your best work is what is reflected. But to piggyback off what Jesslyn said, agencies especially, but even brands and designers are looking for your personality. So exhibiting that, whether it's in videos or stories, and then additionally, sharing your other interests. One of the biggest things that agencies will say is that they don't want models that all they care about is modeling. They want models that also love cats, or, are interested in sports or outdoors, or, and sharing those things. Because also, too, you never know. Somebody might be looking at your Instagram and see that you ride horses and then decide to book you for a horseback photo shoot. So sharing those other interests is really, really important as well.
Okay. And lastly, Tiffany, how do you build your brand on social media?
First of all, I did change like the Facebook and the Instagram to a business profile. And I just, post some reels. I stay in the know of what is trending, hashtags and things like that, what is relevant. Um, Collaborations with other model coaches and models and designers, making sure I'm tagging It's very important. I do see a lot of models posting work and you don't know who the photographer is. You don't know who they're wearing. I'm like, you might want to, I messaged them like, you have to credit these photographers because they won't want to work with you anymore if you're not giving them, their credit. So, just making your profile professional, tagging, all the necessary designers, photographers. Even if you have on Sheen, even if you have on Fashion Nova, tag them because you never know. They may use you in one of their campaigns or catalogs or repost you. It's all about reposting. I've had so many celebrities just repost my stuff just because I use their song or I've mentioned something, so you just never know. It was one thing I wanted to say. When it comes down to professionalism, I try to separate like my personal life, like my kids and things like that. I don't post that on my professional page. But I do tell my story through my brand because, that's what makes you relatable. I tell my story about how I started, how I lacked confidence, and now I teach confidence. I tell my story how I had a car accident where it nearly took my life, and now I'm back on the runway, because I want to inspire, I want to motivate, and I want to encourage. That is, my gifts. So just showing your gifts, like Morgan said, and the things that you're interested in definitely will boost your brand and get people into, following you.
Okay, wonderful. Y'all had some really good pointers. I just wanted to throw out some things too. I guess since I'm on the back end, so I would be one of the people that would be looking at you all social media to see like, wait a minute, is Stella a real model or is she just, saying something? But I have came across a lot of modeling pages, not any of y'all pages, but I have came across, like we get models contacting us saying, they would like to get paid for this or get paid for that. And then when you go to their social media, it's like one picture,
Hmm.
even though you know for a fact that they've walked in a lot of fashion weeks and you have worked with them in the past and you work with them in the future, and they just have like one or two pictures, and it's like, okay, you are wanting, agencies are wanting us or other, production companies to pay you, 500 to $1,000, and your social media is just one picture. So yeah, I would say to be very active because I know all of y'all are active. I see all the likes that y'all get, which is wonderful. Darius and Jocelyn and Nadia and
Yes,
Stella and Morgan and
with that you have to post like I want to say every day, but every single day. I know I don't do it every single day, but you want to post every single day.
yeah.
Or do something like put something on your story every single day, post a picture every day, do a reel every single day. That's how you build your followers. But you will get people in your DMs like, hey, you pay for this, I get you this so many likes or so many followers. Don't fall for that. Do not pay for no followers or likes ever.
That's just
Okay.
bots.
Ever. Ever not. But what I did was I kind of I won't say get on their nerves, but I got on their nerves. But it was like one celebrity that looked at my page, and I was just excited for her. So it was Tyra Banks.
Oh, that's cool.
I
That's
posted one of her picture on
wonderful.
my story, so she looked at my page and she just liked a couple of my stuff.
That's wonderful. That is
Mhm.
really, really good. So before we wrap up anything, we're gonna go over to the ones that are in the chat audience area. Is it any questions that you all would like to ask any of the models that are on tonight, or do y'all have any questions over there? Let's see. I don't see anything yet. So while we're waiting on them, I can ask one question, one more question, because we do have some time. And it has to be one word. One word. And I may let you get a sentence out, but one word. If you could go back in time and tell one thing to your younger self, one thing, what would it be, Tiffany?
I would tell my younger self that you are qualified.
All right. What would it be, Stella?
I would tell my younger self to keep going and to not give up even if it's not the right timing yet.
That's right. Nadia,
Push through.
Morgan,
Take the risk.
Jesselyn,
Don't change yourself to fit somebody else's brand.
Darius.
Thank you for never giving up.
Look at y'all. Y'all gonna have me in tears over here. Y'all are just so wonderful. Let's see. What would I tell my younger self? Probably not to give up to, and I know I said that we only had to say one thing, but I would probably tell my younger self not to give up, not to be lazy, because I do get lazy when I'm doing something, then I stop. So like I need to not do that. The ones in the chat, what would you all tell yourself, your younger self, in the chat? That's if you had to go back in time. Well, okay. All right. So Spartanburg Fashion Week actually has a question. She wants to know, what is your favorite thing about participating in Fashion Week shows, Jocelyn?
I feel like getting to almost play a character is fun, to get to be around all your friends and be in all these different crazy outfits and meet designers and photographers and just play this like glitzy, glamorous life all day is just so fun.
Okay, wonderful. And Wanda said that she would tell herself to go for it. So, what is your favorite thing about participating in Fashion Weeks, Darius?
Meeting new people, doing my content, and just being the celebrity of the show.
Right. Tiffany, what do you love about participating in Fashion Week?
I was gonna say what Darius said. I'm a superstar for the night, and I feel like the spotlight is on me,
Mhm.
and I know it's not on just me, but I feel like the spotlight is on me, and I love that feeling.
Okay. Morgan, what is your favorite thing about?
Hands down, it is the community. I absolutely love my time backstage. I love the people that I've gotten to meet, and they have become some of my closest friends, and I am eternally grateful for that.
All right. And Nadia?
I love kind of storytelling with the clothes, and I mean, other than like a fashion week, I would never be wearing some type of the clothes I do wear. And it's so interesting and it's so fun. And it's also learning about different cultures too. If you model for different like international brands or stuff like that, that's also really interesting. So it's kind of like taking on, as Jesselyn kind of said, like a character, like telling a story. That's my favorite part.
Wonderful. That is wonderful. So, one thing that I like about Fashion Week, and then we can wrap it up, is that I don't know, y'all, like it feels like to me that I'm in another world. Like I'm out of my regular working or going to school or just, living like the regular life. And then it's like when I'm at the fashion weeks or the fashion shows and stuff like that, I feel like that I'm in a totally different world. And I love that. I love when I'm over in that area. And Dorothy said the experience and the exposure, which is right, Dorothy, because you get a lot of exposure. and just meeting the designers and the models. And you do meet a whole bunch of people when you are, in different fashion weeks. And we love the whole traveling and everything. So, um, oh, and then some wonderful people. We do meet some wonderful people. That's what Spartanburg Fashion Week is saying. Wonderful people, um, and creative people. Anybody else has anything about, well, not the models, but the audience. Do anybody else have anything about why they like um Fashion Week before we wrap it up? Okay. So we are going to go ahead and wrap it up. I do thank you all for joining us. You can always visit SpartanburgFashionWeek.com. Um, and if anybody else got any social medias or websites that they want to give out, they can also give that out. Anybody
You
want
can follow me at Morgan Rock Model on all the platforms, and I
to?
will surely make you giggle in my stories.
Okay, wonderful. Anybody else want to give out some social medias?
Yeah, model on the grind on all social media platforms.
Nadia M. Rhodes on all social media platforms as well.
Darius, Stella, Jesselyn, y'all got some or no?
Darius Gates on all platforms.
Jocelyn Sienna on all platforms.
Mine's Stella Miller 71 on all platforms.
All right, and I am the Runway Hub, not on all platforms, just social media. And I am the style assist, just in case you come across that one too. All right. So we will wrap it up and we hope that you all have a wonderful night. Good night, y'all. Thank y'all
Thank
for
you,
joining.
Thank
everyone.
you so
Good night.
much.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.